If you're thinking about looking into long-term care insurance, this presentation will discuss the most important questions to ask before you buy. This is Jesse Sloan, Executive Director of the American Association for Long-Term Care Insurance. We're the industry trade organization, and we get lots of calls from consumers looking to begin the process of investigating long-term care insurance. Most of them start by asking the wrong questions when they buy, and I want to explain what those are and then conclude with the right questions, in my opinion. So you're probably saying, how does he know I'm going to ask the wrong questions? Well, that's because over the years we've taken many calls from consumers. They've read an article in a magazine or a newspaper, and they're starting the process of investigating long-term care insurance. And the two questions that they often begin with when calling us are, how much does this protection cost? And then they want to know about the ratings for the various insurance companies. Let me explain why these two are the wrong questions to begin with. Listen, if you begin by asking about cost, most agents, and that includes the vast majority of agents who just dabble in offering long-term care insurance solutions, they have to pull a number out of the hat. Often the number that they pull out is much more costly for much more insurance than you're really going to ever need. A knowledgeable specialist is really going to sit down with you when you start the process. They're going to help you assess your present financial situation, your budget, that's part of it, your future risk of need, not just what's the likelihood that you need care. I mean, some of that you can't really predict, but you can give a sense. But they're really going to talk about your personal preferences. Is there anybody in your family who might augment your care? Will you have savings or retirement income that you're willing to use to pay for care? Would you prefer to get care in your own home? Are you planning to move from where you currently live to perhaps a location where care would be less expensive? All of those factors go in to pulling the right number out of the hat for you. Otherwise, you're just taking a wild-ass guess, as they say. Without the right information, pulling a number out of the hat is the wrong way to start because costs vary so significantly from one insurance company to the next. And if you begin the wrong way just by pulling a number out of the hat, basically because you really will never switch policies down the road, you're throwing money out the window. What drives the decision in getting to the right number? It's your age when you apply. Every company has a sweet spot. Some look at younger, some at older in preference. Your health. If you have existing health issues, well, then the knowledgeable long-term care agent is going to start with that in order to find you a company that finds them acceptable at the lowest possible rate. And asking what discounts you qualify for. If somebody just pulls a number out of the hat for you, they really haven't looked at all the available discounts that really could make this coverage far more affordable than you might think. I mentioned at the beginning that one of the most common questions, a mistaken question that consumers often focus on at the beginning, is the ratings of the insurance company. They're relevant, of course. You want to be with a fairly decently rated company, but they're less relevant than you might think, and that's because the ratings agency look at the entire company, not specifically their long-term care insurance policy or that book of business. And so, yes, you want a strong, secure company, but it doesn't tell you much of anything about their LTC policy. The questions that I think you want to ask are, how many policies has the company sold? And that will give you a better bearing of their past commitment to their market and their future ability to stay committed to the market. The number of years that they've been selling long-term care insurance. Even you might want to ask the producer, if they're really knowledgeable, when was the particular policy issued? That will tell you basically how current it is in terms of its benefits and features. And then lastly, this is a relevant one, ask them if they are part of the State Guarantee Association. Each state has a guarantee association. It's the equivalent of the FDIC for banks, and that's should the very rare occurrence of an insurance company totally going out of business, the state steps in and guarantees your policy. So I've shared the wrong questions and the wrong place to start. What, in our opinion, is the right place to start? Well, long-term care insurance today really is a specialized business. There are so many important small moving parts to a policy that it really takes a knowledgeable expert to understand it. Most novices can sell you a policy. They're all going to get the same rates, by the way. Those are governed by the state, but they won't understand the very important nuances come claim time. So a knowledgeable expert is going to do a couple of things. First, they're going to base a plan on your personal situation. They're going to spend a little bit of time with you doing a needs assessment, talking about your personal desires before they even begin the process of pulling a cost quote off the shelf. And that's really what you want to get when you make such an important decision about your future. So let me share 3 questions that I think are most important that you should ask when you're talking to an insurance professional. The first question is, how many years have you, as the insurance agent, been selling long-term care insurance? That will give you a sense. If they're relatively new, that doesn't mean they're bad. They may have gone through extensive training, and that's good, but it will give you a sense of their knowledge and their commitment, both historical and their experience. The second most important question is, how many long-term care insurance companies are you appointed with? That's the key word. Not that you can get quotes for. I can pull up software and get you quotes for every company. Appointed means that they are actually able to sell you that company's insurance. They're not going to promote something or tell you the good positives of a company that they're not able to sell you. So that appointed word is key. And then the last question, well, it's sort of a little bit of a tricky one, but it asks them, how many of your clients, have any of them received benefits from a long-term care insurance policy you sold them? That's a good way of really finding out 2 things. Really, have they been in the business? And secondly, have they lived through the experience of somebody who's bought a policy going back a number of years and who's now filed a claim? That's when the all-important small print that's within your plan policy comes to fruition. I want to conclude with 2 recommendations if you're going to take the next step in looking into long-term care insurance. The American Association for Long-Term Care Insurance has several outstanding consumer guides that are available online free of charge. You can see the website address up there. There is no sign-in or information required to access them. We put them up there as a public service because, in our opinion, an educated consumer is the best prospect for this protection. And if you'd like to learn what long-term care insurance would cost for you, why not speak to a designated specialist, a member of the American Association for Long-Term Care Insurance? Look for this image on our website, click it, fill out the free quote form. Your information will be provided exclusively to one designated specialist. They will call you or email you. There is no cost, no obligation. Your information will not be shared beyond that. Thank you so much for watching this presentation. We do hope you found it beneficial to your efforts.